Hi guys, it's Misty from the Book Rat, and today I'm going to be sharing a quick excerpt and first impressions of Tell Me No Lies by Adele Griffin. This is a companion novel to Be True to Me, but I don't think you need to have read that, which is fortunate because I haven't, and I will leave the full synopsis and links to both books in the description in case you want to know more. Basically this is a contemporary novel set in the late 80s and seems to have some, I don't want to say mystery because I don't think that's quite it, but like, how to describe secrets. Not so much mystery as secrets. I'm going to try to keep my first impressions brief because Lord knows my first impressions have been too long lately. They've been as long as a review, and also my battery is kind of dying. So I'm going to get straight into a quick excerpt right from the very beginning of the book, and then I will let you know what I think of what I've read so far. This is copyright the author Adele Griffin and Algonquin Books, and because I am reading from an ARC, this is subject to change, so just, you know, disclaimer. But the first little section, it's kind of a prologue of sorts, and it has a header that says, "My first one." So, from Tell Me No Lies. I'm short, so I'm standing in the front row of chorus class. We're all singing Cupid by Sam Cooke. Nobody but me, I sing, and then my left eye sputters into darkness. I look down at my topsiders, blink, blink, blink. The eye flicks back and forth like a burnt-out strobe. Now there's a tingling in my fingers in the back of my skull, a rush of heat. Something's wrong, I say. Help. But I'm quiet. I don't want to be the one to ruin the one fun number in our 8th grade program of corny folk songs and creaky lullabies. My right eye blacks out next. I'm blind. My brain floods with panic as my bones bend, my feet give out, I slip and fall backward to the floor. My head slamming against the bottom riser, hot pain cresting up in waves. Lizzy! Lizzy Swift is choking! Lizzy Swift, so as not to confuse me with Lizzy DeBattista, who's a foot taller than me and standing in the back, troublemaker's row. Now girls are shrieking and repeating my name. Lizzy, Lizzy, Lizzy! Lizzy, talk to us! Is this some kind of a game? Wendy Palmer's voice cuts in lower, amused. Oh my god, she's spazzing out. My friends are with me. Mimi's hand is on my twitching shoulder, while Gage comes at me sidelong. Lizzy, stop, she hisses. Why are you being so weird? Everyone's looking. But I'm drowning. I'm a plane plummeting to Earth. I'm lost to the sheer horror that this is how I die. Another planet away, the piano stops. Get back, get back. Give her room, girls. Then Mr. Hawk tells Mimi to run to the nurse's office as he rolls me on my side and unbuttons the top button of my collar. Lizzy, I know you're scared, he says. You're having a seizure, and it'll pass, I promise. It will pass, and you'll be fine. Later on in the week, he'd tell me about his college roommate, who also had epilepsy. But now it's this morning, and I barely know that word. She doesn't look fine. Shut up, Wendy. The billowing panic that I'm not fine. And then I black out. My mom's in the infirmary when I come to. I'm crying and she's nothing but a comfort. But this gets wrapped up in the awfulness of that day, and when I learned the words Grand Mal and began to fear the possibility of another one. I know girls still whisper about it, how crazy I looked, how freaky I seemed. The word spaz as a permanent haze around me, especially in those moments when Wendy catches my eye. I've heard she does a pretty dead-on imitation of my seizure, though I've never caught her outright. Gage and Mimi promised it was hardly anything, but best friends are supposed to lie. As it is, I'm on guard forever. Imagining the next time, dreading it, trying not to think about it, failing. So that is the first little section, and I would debate on whether to read that or whether to read the next part from chapter 1, because though I think it is a good setup to her character, I think it also doesn't give you kind of an end to the story, which is about a new girl coming to the school and kind of shaking everything up, and the next chapter starts straight off with that. So I debated. I went with that because I found it interesting and it makes a nice, concise, you don't care about my reasoning. I just want to say, I could have gone with a number of excerpts and I think they were all compelling, so just putting that out there, but that's what I went with. Now on to my thoughts. I can't tell you how many pages I read of this because I was reading it digitally, so it didn't have pages, but the first probably 10 to 15% or so I read, and I feel like I was just starting to get a handle on a story and just starting to get into kind of the secrets and who this mysterious character is and how she's gonna shake everything up, and I was finding it fascinating. I don't know that I necessarily had a full idea of the whole being set in the 80s thing yet. I mean, it's there, the groundwork is there, but I think I could have also very easily, if I didn't know it was set in the 80s, I could have glossed over a lot of it up to the point that I read as just kind of a nostalgic throwback kid who thinks she's cool or something and listening to a cassette tape. You know, it wasn't necessarily like just because you're listening to Joy Division doesn't mean it has to be set in the 80s. I mean, that's kind of moot, it doesn't matter, but just saying, like, place-wise, time-wise, I didn't have a full picture of the 80s, but I'm starting to get that at the point that I'm in, and I think it's going to add a layer. I think it's purposeful to set it in the 80s, I'll say. I find the characters intriguing. I think Lizzy has a good, interesting voice, and I think Claire, the new girl who comes in, is going to really make things very interesting and very twisty, possibly. She's going to be a big catalyst, and I like that. I like that kind of clash of worlds, of personalities, of character types, and I'm curious to see how it goes. So my kind of first impressions thing that I normally do is to tell you, if I had picked this up and read a little bit of it in a bookstore, would I have bought it based on that first little excerpt? And then, having read more of it, would I still buy it? Would I recommend it? So based on that first little bit that I just read you, I probably would have been on the fence. I think it was compelling. There are a lot of sentence fragments, which is kind of a pet peeve of mine, but it works for the voice. So I would have been a little on the fence. Having read more, though, I'm starting to be really intrigued. I'm not always intrigued by contemporary. I'm not necessarily lured in by the 80s. Been there, done that. Having read it and having gotten kind of little sneak peeks of who these characters are and where this world is going to go, and having questions starting to creep in, I am curious. I think I would. I don't know if I would buy it yet. I would have to read more to tell you if I recommend, like, spending your hard-earned cash on it, but definitely I would pick it up. Definitely I would read more and see. I think I probably will continue with it and finish it, which isn't always the case with the First Impressions books, so I am intrigued. I want to see where it's going. I want to see who these characters are and how they're going to just bring everything coming down. I don't know if you have to have read the companion novel. I didn't feel like I was missing anything or was lost, but maybe if I had read that first book, maybe it would have added another layer, or I would have known these characters or something. I have no idea. So if you've read the other book, maybe you'll get more out of it than I did, but I certainly don't think that you need to, and that's typically the case with companion novels. They'll complement each other, but they're not necessary to the enjoyment of each other. That's my quick first impressions. I do think it's worth exploring, especially if you're a contemporary fan or an 80s fan or a secrets and heartbreak stories type of fan. It didn't necessarily grip me so much that I feel like I have to keep reading it as soon as I'm done with this video, but it also didn't have any like major pet peeves or things that turned me off. Maybe gonna feel a little bit like an 80s movie. I don't know, we'll see. But I mean, I liked what I read, so if that's your thing, you'll probably like it too. Those are my thoughts. If you'd like to enter to win a copy of Tell Me No Lies for your very own self, I am part of the blog tour for it, and there is a giveaway on my blog. So I will leave a link in the description to that so you can go hop over and possibly get yourself a copy for the free. But that is all for this First Impressions. If you'd like to see more First Impressions of any books that have made it my way recently, check out my hauls and let me know which ones you'd like to see. But until next time, that is all for now. Thank you guys, and happy watching. I got the camera all taken down and was like ready to be done and realized I said happy watching instead of happy reading. Apparently I just want you to go watch all of my videos and not read any books today. So if you would like to do that, happy watching. For the rest of you, happy reading. As always, happy reading.